Hey everyone, I'm Nick DiMeglio with NFL Draft Diamonds. We're here today with versatile defensive back Cameron Ruiz, who's a 2023 draft prospect. Cameron played at Northwestern as well as Temple University. So just kind of doing this interview, give Cameron an opportunity to let any evaluators and scouts who may watch this video get a better feel for who he is as a person, and what his character is like. And everything like that. How are you doing, Cameron?
I'm good. I appreciate you, Nick.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
the time.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Just think it's a good opportunity. Let people get to know a little bit more about you, everything like that. So let's start off. I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background, kind of walk us through your journey a bit to where you are?
Well, I'm from Lakeville, Illinois, very small town in Illinois. But when people don't know it, I just say Chicago suburb, right? But I've been playing football since I was like 9 years old. It's been very pivotal and movement in my life, you know. Opened a lot of doors for me in education and exposure with athleticism, and connections as well. So it's been a journey, it's been a ride. So every day is a blessing for me, every game, every practice, everybody I meet on this journey. So I've been very grateful for it.
Okay. I know you didn't really kind of go into too much detail, but do you want to tell us a little bit about your high school days, obviously in Illinois, and kind of get Northwestern, and then also like the journey to Temple and everything like that?
Oh yeah, my bad.
No worries.
So high school, uh, I was just playing it just to play it. Like I never really I was having fun with it as well. So I realized like after my sophomore year, I was like I can really make something shake with this football thing, because I put on varsity my sophomore year as a corner, and then my coach sat me down and said like if you can make a name for yourself. And so junior senior year we ended up um, taking advantage of the college scouting process, especially after my junior year. I got offered by Northwestern. Actually, I think it was today or
Oh,
April
wow.
10th or around this time. Yeah, and
Wow.
they took a chance on me, and I took the offer right on the spot after my junior season, and I was committed ever since. Didn't talk to any other schools, didn't look at anybody else. And Yeah, so I was committed to them, and I was like so appreciative because my mom actually went to Northwestern for grad school. She got her MBA there, so I was like, I knew the value of education, and so I went there, and uh, and so I was like, oh, I see them making a big jump in the Big Ten, and so when we were there, we went to two Big Ten championships.
Oh, wow.
Sadly, we lost to Ohio State, so we're the first. I was part of the first two teams ever in Northwestern history to go to the Big Ten championship games. Um, and then once I graduated, I grad transferred to Temple. And then my first year at Temple, it was obviously rough for my record, but I think I enjoyed the time there. It was my first time leaving home.
Mhm.
I've never been outside the city, Chicago. I never lived anywhere else, so it was a growing. It was definitely it was a growing experience for me.
Okay.
And then my second year, I wanted to come back so I can get more film, and then so I can get my grad degree.
Nice.
So, since I said I value education, I do value education, but also what the game has done for me is get more film and then get my grad degree. So get more experience on the field and get more experience in the classroom.
Nice.
So yeah.
What was so I mean, growing up kind of in the Chicago area and then getting to go to Northwestern, was that something you were looking for? Because obviously you had you had family around and stuff. Was that mean a lot?
It actually I didn't really grow up having a dream school,
Okay.
but it was something that I was excited about. That's why I took the offer right on the spot. I knew what it could do for me.
Mhm.
um, as it has done for a lot of people, and my mom especially. So, talking about how important just a Northwestern degree was, so I took advantage of that. Um, but it was good to be home. It was only an hour away, so I was lucky enough to have that opportunity.
Nice. And then I know I saw kind of you like were pretty involved like in track and stuff. You had a pretty extensive like track background and stuff in high school. Do you feel like that kind of had anything to do with like your football development, or just kind of was something you were naturally like gifted in terms of track?
Actually, no, it did because I remember Northwestern was looking at my track numbers
Mhm.
also and like looking at my film. So I believe it does correlate, especially like triple jump and explosion, uh, along with long jump, because we can talk about a lot of great DBs, for example, like
Yep.
or well-known DBs. Jalen Ramsey was a good long jumper. Adoree Jackson was a long jumper. Like these guys are explosive players, and they have made a name for themselves being quick, fast, and making plays on the ball and making big
Yeah.
hits. So I feel like Northwestern put that all together and paid attention to my film as I had little spurts of explosion. And like I was like, oh, this kid's very explosive, right?
Yeah.
And so I it does correlate in my opinion, as like I do believe that a lot of football players should run track or do field events to help with their game for agility reasons and speed reasons.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, it helped my game a lot. Track, sometimes I wish I had the opportunity to do it in college to see what my potential was, but my passion was football, so I chose football.
Gotcha. What was like your best kind of your best event that you did like in track? Was it the long jump, or was it? I know you said broad.
Uh, yeah, long jump, I jumped 24 even my junior year. Then my senior year for triple jump, I jumped 51-1. So, and
Wow.
then I broke the state meet record from a guy who actually he broke it in '98, and I was born in '98, and he went to University of Texas, and now I'm training in Austin. So I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It all correlated. So
Nice.
um, but yeah, I broke that record. It's held for 20 plus years, 20 years, no, like yeah, 20 years.
Wow. So I know you were kind of talking a little bit about like some guys in the pros, Jalen Ramsey, stuff like that, Adoree Jackson. I mean, I know you kind of have a very versatile background. We'll get into it later in the interview, like in terms of where you've played at the defensive back position. But I mean, is there one guy in the league currently that you kind of like aspire to or kind of like look up to in a sense, or?
Yeah, I'll say there's multiple guys. There's Bryce Callahan, but especially Kenny Moore. You know, I feel like Kenny Moore has made a name for himself just as recently, but I was paying attention to him before he had signed the big contract with being like the top nickel paid and everything. But I was like, dang, I really like this player. Like I
Yeah.
like the way he plays. Like he might not be the tallest, but he plays a lot bigger than he is. Right. He's very physical. He makes plays on the ball. He's very explosive. So like I really liked watching his film. And I could tell he was really smart. And like sometimes he'll move to the corner position. So
Mhm.
a lot of times he'll play nickel. There's a time where I see on film where he moved to the post, and I'm like, dang, like he does a lot of
Yeah.
things for the defense. He's so valuable. And that's something that I looked forward to. He's like a Swiss Army knife. He can play in the box, he can play outside, he can play in the slot. It's not like a lot of people that can do that.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess that's kind of fitting though, like what you've done career wise, like in college. So, um,
Yeah.
so like between Northwestern and Temple, I mean, at Temple, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you were utilized in the defense, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe how it was a bit different when you were at Northwestern, just kind of talking to your versatility.
I would say my first year at Temple in 2021, I was mostly a corner. We
Mhm.
didn't have much nickel packages. We had like a dime package with three safeties over like that was over the top, like one in the post too. Yeah, so we had that. Um, and then in 2022, so I had to come off like a crazy injury. I was just mostly playing nickel position. And
Mhm.
since we had a new staff, we played nickel a lot on third down or heavy passing teams. So 2022 heavy nickel, 2021 just outside corner.
Okay.
And so I was able to do both, able to switch and be versatile in that, so which helped. But at Northwestern, when I was playing, I'll go from corner, and then say we have a package, then I'll bump into nickel.
Okay.
So I have a lot of I like it was a lot more reps going in and stuff like that. So like, and I feel like we had um, like Coach Hank was a well-known defensive coordinator who retired after 2020,
Mhm.
but he was like very smart. So we had a lot of adjustments, motioning around, following, and so the nickel was moving around a lot more. in that defense. So I was definitely uh, in shape, I would
Yeah.
say, during that. But yeah, so I just felt like I was versatile on both, but at Northwestern I did corner and nickel at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, when you're studying film and stuff like that, I mean, is there, anything specifically you kind of key in on or kind of focus on to kind of improve your game or like preparing for that game week or anything like that?
Uh, yeah, it's a process actually, because I learned since 2018 I got sent this slip once I made my first start the process. So I watched the most recent game or recent games, like 2 games, and I just watched them. And then after that, then I look at their tendencies or their concepts, 2 by 2, 3 by 1. What do they like to run out of those? And then I look at the quarterback strengths and the receiver strengths, and then their weaknesses as well. And then and then second before last, I look at I look at the receiver, just
Mhm.
the individual receiver cut ups, because every receiver runs different releases, runs routes differently, right? And then finally, like probably like when I'm at the hotel, I just might watch a game that like caught my interest that I would just want to see, you
Gotcha.
know. But just that's pretty much my whole process. But it just
Okay.
goes day by day, like from Monday all the way
Yep.
to Friday.
Gotcha. I mean, if so, obviously, evaluator, scout, stuff like that. I mean, if they put on tape and kind of watch you play, what do you think are some of your best traits or attributes that probably are popping off that they see or that they will see if they haven't?
I would say, I'm sorry. I
No,
would
no,
say that they would say like I communicate well on the field, like I'm a very smart player. I direct traffic, right? And I hustle to the ball. Like I don't think many people can watch my film and say I don't hustle. I'm
mhm,
always hustling to the ball. I'm very physical. I'm not obviously the biggest guy out there, but I think what's his name? Not what's his name. Of course, he's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin said, I remember I
yeah,
was watching a pivot episode. He said those 5'9", 180 guys, like those are the type of guys he likes, because like
yeah,
they're not really built to play the game. So we know we always got a chip on our shoulder, always trying to prove something. Um, so I would say that I'm physical for especially my size. Um, I'm quick, all those things that can help a team, on special teams on defense. So
gotcha. Okay. Um, I mean, I've always been like a firm believer in like, obviously understanding what your best attributes are, but also like being able to understand like maybe where your weakness or weaknesses may be
mhm.
as a player. So I mean, do you feel like you have a weakness or weaknesses in a sense that you kind of identified and you're kind of working to improve or address?
Oh yeah, I would say some probably the main weakness is playing consistently low. I feel
Okay.
like that's been like a thing that I have struggled with at times, especially during the process of the game. But um, I think that I've gotten, not I think I have gotten better at it over time because I've been more aware of it. But that's probably my biggest weakness. Other than that, I think everything else is pretty fair, pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So I mean, between the two places you played at in college, I mean, any like best moments or memories in a sense at either or I mean, probably a lot, I'd guess, but
Um, yeah, I would say my best moments in college was maybe well, I can have multiple. Can I have
yeah,
multiple or just
yeah.
one?
I mean, you
Okay,
can give
so
one from each if you want, doesn't matter.
in 2018 when I made my first ever start against
Okay.
Iowa at Iowa, and we beat
Wow.
Iowa, and then from when we beat them, we made to the Big Ten championship, and that was the first time ever. And so like that was like such a memorable time, and like I graded out like the highest DB that game. Like I just like played like I didn't care. I
Yeah.
loved the game, but I just like it just flowed well. Um, you know, and then 2020 when we made the Big Ten championship, that was a memorable year as we were a top secondary at Northwestern. And then 2021 at Temple, I think when we won our first conference game, Memphis, I thought that was pretty pivotal. Well, I thought it was going to be like I thought it was very not emotional, but It was a game we came back, we were down 17-0. We came
Okay.
back, and I thought it was like brought the team closer.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah.
Um, so I know the beginning of the interview, you kind of gave us a little bit of info about like your journey and kind of how you've gotten to where you are now. Do you think there's anything else like that maybe you didn't talk about that kind of makes your path to this point different or unique from other prospects coming out this year? Or
Well, I've said this a lot, but
yeah.
just recently. So in February of last year, I had a traumatic injury when I fractured my pelvis, and like the doctors were saying like not many people. This doesn't happen to many people, like it's and everything. So like the fact that I came back from that and I didn't have really anybody to go off of,
Mhm.
like I was just going through the journey, and I made it through. That is like I persevered through. I was resilient, and that's
Mhm.
something that not many people are aware of. But I'll let it be known. So I think that's something that I haven't talked about my journey in this interview so far. But I think it's only made me a better player and just a better person overall. Being so patient with that process and actually overcoming adversity and obstacles with that.
Absolutely. I mean, almost like what's the way to put it? Almost like not battle tested in a sense, but you kind of went through trials and tribulations with that process and came out better on the back end for it. So
Yeah.
um so I mean, outside of football, we've been talking a lot of football. I mean, is there anything like a hobby or like what do you, I mean, something interesting maybe that you do outside of football that a lot of people don't know?
I'm very big on being family oriented.
Okay.
So whenever like I have the time, especially now, like I'll go see my family. I spend as much time with my siblings as possible. I'm really old. I'm really old big brother. Like I'm 12 years older, 16 and 18
Oh
years older
wow.
than three of my siblings. Yeah. And so like my brother now wants to learn how to play basketball. So like now I'm trying to teach him how to play basketball. My sister
Yeah.
wants to join in, and then she's like, she wants to just like she wants me to take her to the park. So I'll walk her to the park whenever I have a chance. And then my youngest baby brother, he wants to play on his iPad. So like I might play with him on his iPad from time to time. That's just a little bit of something. Like I think we went skating the other day. I like to skate with my family. I want to go skating just by myself, or bowling with some of my friends, some of my cousins.
Nice.
I love movies. I'm a really big movie watcher, so that's something I do in my free time.
What's
Video games is obviously included, but
Gotcha. What do you what's like the best movie you've watched recently, you'd say?
oh, recently,
Yeah, or
oh,
if you can't think of one, maybe one that's even old, I don't know, a go-to or one.
well,
Yeah.
my favorite movie right now, people might think it's funny, but if you really watch the movie, it's a great movie and character building. But my favorite movie is Spider-Man to Spider-Verse, but only
Okay.
because I like the representation because he's black and Puerto Rican just like me, and so
Yeah.
it's different, right? And I think there's a very good character developing and
Yeah.
building, and it's different perspectives. That's why I like the movie. It's not
Okay.
just because like, oh, I like Spider-Man. Yeah, I like Spider-Man, but that's not the only reason.
No,
But yeah,
there's story more deeper story behind it.
right. So I'm just like, yeah. So that's why I like the movie. That's my favorite movie. But what movie have I seen recently? I saw John Wick 4. I thought that was okay. I
Yeah.
thought it was good. It's not the best out of the three,
Yeah.
but it's a smooth one.
Gotcha. I know Temple had their pro day a little bit ago. How do you feel like that went? And what was that process like for you?
It was I was actually nervous. I haven't been I was like I was the most nervous I've been. Like I wasn't even nervous for a game like that. So like it was just a whole new experience. Like it was like the closing act of your college football career, right?
Yep.
But it was a good experience. I did well. I do believe I could have done better in things,
Mhm.
but I'm not disappointed or upset about the outcome. It was already written. So like
Yep.
I'm it's all in God's hands now. So like just let go and let God. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely. I mean, what was your, I mean, you want to tell us a little bit about like kind of what your pre-pro day training was like? I know you mentioned that you've been training in the Texas area. Maybe give a little bit of info about that.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm training at a place called Collective. We were their first NFL draft class actually. But with the play with this with someone uh the our speed coach was Mo Wells. Our strength coach was JB, so Jordan Bush, and then so they helped us a lot and everything going on. We had another speed coach, his name was Trey Hardy. We had a lot of people, a lot of interns. Um, and then um the person who led the not athletic training side, training staff part was AG. And
Mhm.
so she did a great job, and especially we were actually from the same county, which is
Oh,
interesting because
wow.
not people from our county. But it was a great experience. They are obviously people who know what they're doing, so I got to work out with some former NFL players because they have connections there.
Mhm.
I had to work out with some big prospects and actually get to know them. So I think it was just good for the overall for developing as a player and just building those connections and making new friends.
Yep.
So yeah, just collective in Austin, Texas.
Okay, nice. I mean, kind of getting to the latter part of the interview, kind of have a few more questions for you. Kind of curious, obviously you people handle challenges on the football field if you're an athlete and then just in life as a whole. How do you handle challenges like obviously related to your football career, but then also in life?
Well, I say I handle challenges like I take them head on,
Hmm.
but um, and I feel like I attack the challenges because how you going to grow without attacking it? You can't avoid it.
Yep.
Um, and sometimes I feel like when you attack it head on, it does help. But sometimes you got to analyze things as well while you're attacking this challenge. You just can't just go in there like into the dark. You got
Gotcha.
to have sometimes a smart approach.
Okay.
So,
And then kind of one of I guess the latter like football related questions. Kind of curious. I mean, you played a lot of positions defensively, but and then also a lot of defensive schemes between Northwestern probably and Temple. Do you have a favorite coverage and why?
uh, um, yeah, I just say cover one. You know,
Okay.
just go out there and cover your man. Like it's a competitive coverage. You know, uh, cover one, cover four. Like I feel like those coverages are just like they're like go out there and compete, but mainly cover
Yeah.
one. Just go out there and compete.
Okay. Gotcha. And then I mean, kind of obviously kind of went through a few different questions and kind of gave some perspective on your character, your football journey, stuff like that. Give one last pitch really to scouts and evaluators that are out there and watching this video and kind of looking into you as a prospect.
Well, I'm someone who's willing to sacrifice for my team. I'm not somebody who is self-centered. I love this game, right? I'm not big on the spotlight, but I'm big on our spotlight as a team because it's a team sport, and everything has to be all the success we get is together. So I just want to know that I do have a passion for this game. This is my number one priority, um, and I love it. That's how I am. It's at my core right now.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, really appreciate you coming on, Cameron, and doing this interview. And I think it really gives a good perspective about who you are. Obviously people could watch your film and analyze your playing style and everything, but it's just as important kind of to understand like the character and stuff like that of who you're bringing into a franchise or evaluating. So hopefully that helps with that. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to do the interview.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Wishing you the best of luck, man.
Thank you. All right.